Nom nom nom. So, hi again. We're going to talk about social capital. Yeah, anytime. Happy to take questions whenever you guys have that, please. Almost every single time that I have had somebody on here, other than the mental health thing, obviously, we have talked about social capital. And social capital is so important because it is like the first step into branding, brand awareness, and your social media posts slash leveraging social media slash everything that you're going to do in the future. So this is a really important thing. I think that I would like people to reference back to when they need it. I have illustrated exactly how to do it. And again, if anybody wants to come on after I'm done with this little lecture on what this is, I'm happy to do your social capital with you. So, social capital, first of all, starts with psychology. And so, social capital in the real world, as far as our relationships with you and me, comes in different forms with one root cause. And that one root cause is that human beings are social animals that want to work together, solve problems, and organize. Examples of social capital can be boiled down kind of to it's not what you know, it's who you know. So, yeah, social capital is beneficial, but can also be kind of a downfall for somebody, and I'll explain why. So, socially, the benefits are derived from interactions that are like you help somebody groom their dog and you do a fantastic job, and they go and talk to their friends about it, and then you get free jobs out of that, or rather, word of mouth. Because of good social capital, meaning you are in good standing with another person. You help an old lady across the street, you just got social capital points. And the way that it can hurt you, though, is just the opposite. It is a falling out of, what is that called? Your reputation. So if you have a tarnished reputation, that means that your social capital is negative. So, do unto others may be a governing factor within our personal lives, but social capital, but we need to condense social capital now into what it means for businesses. And like I said, a positive influence within the community often nets you positive social capital and more opportunities to work with other people. But for the downsides, think of negative Yelp reviews. Tarnished reputation ensures that potential customers think twice about using your service. Negative social capital. Or secondly, picture any time you've experienced like really, really good service the first couple of times you've gone somewhere, and then all of a sudden it's shitty service. So you either have a super duper neutral view about them, or you just have a negative or they have a negative reputation with you. So social capital applies to both. But there's also a third one, and there is neutrality, and this is when I'm going to start talking to everybody and make sure that I can see my voice so I can make sure that I'm not clipping, because many of you need to hear this right now. Social capital also has a neutral aspect, and this neutral aspect is when you don't build any social capital, meaning you don't post on Twitter, you don't post on Instagram, nobody knows that you exist, therefore you have neutral social capital. One post a day, there we go, I know how to talk. One post a day generates positive social capital. Please post on Twitter, use hashtags. Anyway, good talk, everybody. Social capital has a neutral aspect. Please keep that in mind when you choose not to post anything. And mental health matters. I know that you guys need to take breaks. I took a 9-month break or something like that last year. Like, it's okay. Your business entity probably has an audience, clients, agreements with other companies, etc. So within these circles, meaning your audience, specific branding opportunities should be considered alongside your assets, i.e. social capital is the relationship between your assets and your audience. If you are freaking out right now, don't worry, I will explain what all of that means. But also, a reason for social capital is to make sure that the content that you are producing does not alienate any of the current audience that you have. So when Prime decides to, damn it, it was so late. I don't remember what happened. Frick, what happened last night, Prime? So Prime has a very political stream. And on that political stream, most of the people only want to discuss politics. But he decided that he wanted to talk about, I don't know, foot fetishes or something like that. I don't remember. It wasn't foot fetishes, but for the sake of example, I'm going to go there. So he decides to bring up foot fetishes on his political stream, or he like shouts me out too, and he'll like shout me out for 5 fucking minutes. Like, his audience doesn't give a shit about me. Not like like emotionally they do. Like, I am a human being, I am valued. But as far as like what they want to engage with, it's not necessarily me or my content, and that's fine because that is his audience. So what he is not doing is respecting his social capital when he starts talking about feet to his I'm so sorry, Prime. When he starts talking about feet, he's not respecting his social capital, meaning the relationship between his audience and his assets. His assets being the foot fetish discussion. I'm so sorry. You got it. So what I'm hearing is that Keto. No, I'm okay without the foot content, but I mean, honestly, like, it was entertaining. That was entertaining as fuck. I don't mind that, but your audience does. And I respect you as a business entity. I respect your social capital within your business entity. And your business is not to, cater to my ass. So as entertaining as it is, you don't need to do that. All right. So put simply, social capital is beneficial in that it diagrams the positive relationship of your assets and your audience. Oh my God. Okay. So again, if you're freaking out, here is the difference between your audience and your assets. So the first relationship that you want to consider that pertains to marketing your brand. So before you start even thinking about your brand, this is step 1. What I want you to do after this is sit down with a notepad. If you're a visual learner, you can do the diagrams that I'm about to show you. You can list it out however your brain works. Go ahead and do this when you're done watching this if you don't have a panel afterwards. And I will show you how. So just getting back into the relationship and the importance of this. Let's say Grandma Fran subscribes to your political podcast, and you start affiliating with blow up banana costumes. Grandma Fran probably isn't very interested in that. I'm not sure if the rest of your audience is necessarily interested in blow up banana costumes. So what social capital does is make sure that the assets that you have, i.e. banana blow-up costumes, match your audience, i.e. Grandma Fran. And your assets are anything that is used to promote your brand, service, or product. I'm going to take questions right after this just in case. Examples of your assets include photos, videos, clips, blogs, testimonials even from your customers, etc. Anything that you can use on a platform to advertise, that you can use to advertise with is an asset. And I promise you, look me in the eyes right now, you have more than you think. You do not just have a video or a stream. You have so much more than that to offer and give value to people's lives. I promise. You probably got a whole bunch in your back pocket, I swear to God. We will just sit down and think about those after we're done with this. Yeah, so like I talked to Prime, and he said his stream, his clips, and let me just like roll up the list real quick. He said he had his stream, his VODs, and his clips. And his assets actually was his entire Twitch channel, as long as his as well as his following, his emojis, the walk-on panels himself, access to Prime himself via his Discord, access to the network that he has, i.e. he is generally affiliated with Bastiat, Dylan, and a whole bunch of other like big political streamers. So he can leverage that as an asset that he can use to continue to advertise on Twitter. And I'm not talking about like an advertisement that says, "Hey, come to my stream, I know Dylan." No, he can literally just post, I don't know, "Hey Dylan, when are you going to show us your dog?" or something like that. And that it, like, just that post alone is engagement between both of you, which, and if Dylan or anybody else were to engage with that post, that means that anybody that follows that other person, the people who follow them, are going to see what they just commented, and it just fucking snowballs. On top of that, VODs, thumbnails, memes, clips, and I think I already said his Discord. So yeah, just from one stream, and I'm talking about like just one video that he makes per night. And he doesn't even have to stream for 8 hours a night. He can stream for 1 hour, he can stream for 10 minutes, he can stream for 50 hours, I don't care. All of that still applies to just one video, just one. So again, when we're done with this, when we woosah, when we have cleansed our palate, oh my god, I need palate cleansers, guys. I need to like do that so we're not just like downloading this to all of our brains for 2 hours. Yeah, when we're done here, cleanse your palate, and then think about what your assets are. Give yourself 10 minutes and just look at a piece of paper. It might be blank. You might only be able to write down 3 things, but those 3 things, I promise you, have other things that are related to it, or other things that you can extrapolate from it that can count as your asset that you can use in social media. You can use as advertisements, which then you can take and monetize. All right. So social capital, relationship between assets, we just talked about, and your audience. So going forward, consider that when I say audience, I mean business to business, meaning me talking to another business, you talking to another business, and affiliations. But it also means your demographics, people who like your posts, people who interact with you on your stream, who comment on your YouTube, etc. When planning, you should also, just in the back of your head, again, consider future demographics that you might want to hit as well. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a sec. If you don't have that demographic data because you haven't been managing your social media, like I said before, for now, it's okay to guess. I know that most of us don't have like in-depth demographic data and like all of this monetizable information, and that's okay. We can breathe. We're all just starting. We all start somewhere, and that's okay. You don't need to be absolutely sure about everything. Baby steps are okay. I'm here to help you guys with this, not like pressure you guys into making sure that you know exactly what your social capital is after all of this. I'm here to help. It's okay. Remember again that like we all start from somewhere, and it's okay to be overwhelmed and be confused, etc., because this is a lot. Part of my job is to take in all of the confusion and the just, I don't know, garble, and help you guys make sense of it. And right now, what I'm trying to lay the foundations of with social capital is letting you guys realize where your value is within your assets, and then pair them with your audience so that we go into September social media month and you guys just bam, hit the ground running, because I will give you how to think about your posts, how to be thoughtful in your posts, what hashtags to use, etc. So yeah, just think of this as like foundational stuff right now. And let me just roll into the diagram that I have here with presentation. Boom. So social capital, again, relationship between your assets and your audience. Your assets are content that you produce, your social media following, blogs, videos, testimonials, anything that can add value or be used to advertise your brand. You do have more than you think. Again, reserve some time to brainstorm, list out everything that you can think of. From one stream, most people think, well, okay, I have the VODs of my stream. I mean, that's cool. But if you really, really thoughtfully consider what your assets are from that one stream, it could be thumbnails, it could be clips, you could have your Discord on top of that, your VODs, the network that you used, the format of the stream that you have, your emojis, the channel itself. All of those come from one video. And again, that video can be 10 minutes long. So sit down and really think about what your assets are, because all of that can be used eventually to monetize something in the future, make social media posts, garner you that engagement, that following, whatever you're looking for. and something that you can also like set goals around. Audience, business to business, affiliate marketing, demographics, and potential untapped demographics. So again, people that you already have as your demographics, but also people that you haven't thought about as your demographics. So first, consider who your current audience is. Now that, again, you don't have to know 100%. This is an exercise for you, not something that you're like presenting to the board of DJI right now. So it's okay to guess. It's okay to feel around. You're okay. Use social capital to make sure that the relationship between your current audience matches your assets. We'll talk about that in just a sec. And the reason that you do this is so that you understand the relationship that you have with your audience right now versus what you produce. And you can also start planning future demographics, needs, and desires. Lastly, it also helps in planning future product releases, assets, and affiliations. So again, Grandma Fran does not care about banana balloon costumes. You want to make sure that anybody that you affiliate with, anything that you are creating, does not alienate the audience that you have. And this will show you how not to do that. So for the first example here, I thought about my destination photography business. Now, my destination photography business, what I know applies mostly to boomers. Mostly boomers are the people who consume my content. Now, okay, simplified, what content do I have? What content do I produce as a photographer that only applies to boomers or just applies to boomers in general? Well, my first thought was my travel blog. So my travel blog just kind of belongs to boomers right now. It doesn't have a ton of social capital with anybody else. The travel blog is a piece of content that I produce that I could use as a tweet and target boomers to read that. And this doesn't mean that like I have to pay Facebook $50 just to talk to boomers. Doesn't mean that at all. It means that if I use targeted hashtag research, targeted group posting, things like that. So yeah, anything that I can use across a platform that is potentially monetizable, but more importantly is just a piece that I can use across a bunch of platforms, is my travel blog. Travel blog mostly applies to boomers, and that's perfectly fine. But now what I want to do is think about my photography itself. So my photography belongs to multiple demographics, but I know it applies to boomers already. So while I'm thinking about a demographic that I already have, maybe I don't know exactly what the age is. Maybe I don't know exactly what they adhere to. Maybe it's just 23 to 35 age group, and that's okay. Maybe it's just millennials. I don't have to have like a concrete, okay, it's unmarried millennials who have one dog who make 1,101, what the fuck is it called? You don't generalize. Like, it's okay to generalize right now. So what I think I have is 23 to 35 millennial demographic. That's cool. And I'm going to stick it right here because I know that my photography can be used for both boomers as well as my millennial demographic. So I'm just going to like stick a little circle there and call that good. So I'm sitting here with a big list. Let's just pretend I've got a huge list of assets that are like all over the place, all over this. But I want to hit a different demographic. Just for the sake of convenience, let's go with our Zoomers. My photography, at least I know, doesn't really appeal to Zoomers. A travel blog doesn't really appeal to Zoomers, but I want to grow my business, I want to grow my audience, and I eventually want to hit Zoomers. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, what the hell do millennials and Zoomers have in common that is an asset that I can produce that appeals to both audiences? And I said, okay, TikTok tutorials. If we're thinking about my photography business again, TikTok photography tutorials match up with millennials. They also match up with Zoomers. So whenever I post something on TikTok, that means that I can hit both demographics at the same time and grow my business that way. Now, if I were to put it in the center right here, what that does is does me a disservice. because if I started using language that applied to boomers on something like TikTok, I might start alienating both my millennials and both my Zoomers, or I'm just going to be super disappointed because I don't hit any boomers at all. And I just spent all of this time doing all of this research into boomers and how to appeal to them as far as tutorials are concerned, and there's no return. Is how the hell do I connect Zoomers to the boomers? Does anybody have... I gotta go this way. Here we go. Does anybody have any idea how me and my photography business would apply to Zoomers and boomers? Tell me in the chat. Anyway, animal photography is a good guess. Pictures of Zoomers who would be the grandkids of boomers. But I am a travel photography blog, though. I don't want to do portraiture. I am resistant to it. I will never do it. I'm not going to take pictures of your fucking kids. So, if I was a portrait photographer, or I did, animal photography, totally. But, hi, my personality is kind of memey, and because of that, what I'm gonna say is, dunking on millennials. Dunking on millennials, as far as my posts are concerned, it hits both the boomers and the Zoomers. And the reason I can do that is because, again, it's part of my brand. So making memes that do that, making jokes at the expense of millennials, is one way to advertise my brand. And here's the reason you can get away with it. So you can get away with differentiating your portfolio and or your assets because it adds personality. So the reason that I can do something like dunking on millennials is because I am my brand, but I don't have to be my brand. If my brand is dad jokes on Twitter, I can probably dunk on millennials just fine. But even if that isn't just my brand, it also adds like a personal value and a personal touch to all of my social media. So instead of just saying, hi, I'm a travel photographer. I travel the world. Here's my travel blog. Please read it. No, I can post memes and I can like engage and have a fucking personality. It's great. It's okay to have a personality on social media. It's okay to dunk on people. It's okay to meme. It's okay to dad joke. Like, it's okay to have a personality. You don't always have to make sure that your social media posts are an advertisement. So, like Joe Lewis the other day decided to dunk on me because I didn't have a call to action. And not everything needs to be a call to action. Not everything has to be an advertisement. You don't need to post a link on everything. You don't need to post a hashtag on everything. You don't need to post a tag on everything. But they are still assets even without that, because your personality is an asset. People want to follow and engage with actual human beings, not a robot. So your personality, surprise, is an asset. Use your personality. Be sarcastic, meme, dad jokes, whatever you need to do. It's okay. I'm giving you permission. Please do that. So this is just like a simplified view of what this should look like and what I think you should be brainstorming with. But what I want to add to it real quick, it's not going to be hard, I promise, is that more overlap within the circles. So the bigger these circles get on top of these circles, the more success an asset will have with that particular demographic. I.e., if I made a travel blog that is exclusively advertised for boomers, then this is probably going to be way bigger in here. And the reason for that is because anytime I target a boomer with my travel blog, that means that I can focus more on that metadata, on that advertising, and make sure that I hit them really hard. So the more overlap that you have, the more success you will have with that asset, the better chance you will have at consistent income. So yeah, and the reason that this works real quick, the reason that this works is that when you post something online, it lives online forever. And if you are super careful about your SEO, if you keep things fresh, if you are consistent, and if you have an audience that uses word of mouth, that like shares your posts, etc., that means that you don't have to work. You just work less, at least, and you continue to generate income even though you're working less. That's the goal of all of this. So what I want to talk about real quick is this overlap that we have. I've got my little travel blog over here that appeals to boomers, and that's good. But we have my photography right now that is like super huge. Now you see these lines right here, and this is the overlap that applies only to my millennial demographic. And this part right here that really only appeals to my boomer demographic. With my photography, I take a bunch of different photos in my travels. So I do landscapes, I do destination, I do editorials, I'll do influencer photos. So out of one photo or one genre of photo, I can produce a ton of different assets, but they all appeal to specific demographics. So I've got this like beautiful picture of the Colosseum, and as far as like millennial response to it, I mean, you know, it's a trickle in, but the people that are most interested in those kinds of photos are usually my boomers. And because that isn't like the bulk of photos that I produce, I just like make it chill right there. So within my photography, I've got my destination photos that apply to boomers. Now, all of this in here might be, I don't know, my architectural photography, or my architectural photos, my editorial photos, like all of that stuff. But what I want to directly adhere to my millennials are influencer photos. When I take my influencer photos on Instagram, what I do is I want to make sure that any of the hashtags that I use, the language that I use, etc., adheres directly to my millennials. Why? Because if I use metadata or language that appeals to boomers, I mean, that part doesn't, there's no room for it in here. Like, boomers just don't care about it. And again, I don't want to waste my time, and I want to make sure that any research that I do snowballs and gets shared and has an audience that sees it. So if there just legitimately isn't an audience for my influencer photos other than millennials, why am I going to spend time doing that? Now, my editorials and everything like that, they're just kind of chilling in the middle, and I didn't want to like visually stress you guys out, but like these should like intersect a little bit. So all of those things like can loosely apply to both of them. And let's say I'm having a day where I'm just like out of my destination photos. I don't really have any influencer photos to post, and I'm just kind of feeling meh about it. I can just post one of those and do generic stuff, and that's still an asset that's still gaining me social capital. So like I'm still getting somewhere, even if I'm just putting something generic out there. Which is why I encourage you guys to just post. Just put your stuff out there, because you have value. Your assets are valuable. Sit down for 10 minutes after this and just think about what your assets are. And if you guys need help with any of it, again, I'm happy to have you on stream to talk about that. My DMs are open, but they're starting to get a little, not cramped necessarily, but I just rather keep track of any consults and questions like that on Discord. So prefer Discord, but obviously like I want to make sure that you guys are comfortable with however you access me. So like it's fine. Like if you need to do the DMs, like that's all good. Yeah, that is my like presentation on social capital. Yay, there we go, fireworks and shit. I think that if you sit down and just take 10 minutes to write down, okay, I'm a YouTuber, so I have my YouTube videos, and you're gonna stare at that, and you might stare at it for 5 minutes and not think of anything. You might stare at it for 15 minutes and not think of anything. You might need to go get some water and then come back to it. That's okay. Here's a hint. Your thumbnail is an asset. Like, there are so many things that you produce within one piece of content that you can gain different assets from. And we will talk about that next month. What I want to teach is like how to get, literally, hold on real quick. Don't sit down. Don't faint on me. What I'm going to teach you how to do, let me move my mic here. What I'm going to teach you how to do is how to make at least 50, and I'm not shitting you right now, 50 assets out of one piece of content. And I'm talking about things as simple as a photo. You give me a photo, I can make 50 different pieces out of that. That is advertisable, that is potentially monetizable, etc. So, in September, prepare for that. You're intimidated by that number, that's okay. You can probably do like at least 80 because you do videos and very long videos. Oh my god, you probably have like several hundred actually, because so Prime's videos are 6 to 8 hours a day, or yeah, 6 to 8 hours a day except Sundays. Like, this guy produces so much content, and the only thing that he does is submit a tweet. You guys will learn why that bothers me so much in September. I'm coming for you, Prime. So what we'll learn is how to use the assets that you have and make them not only run for you, but snowball, because we don't want to work the rest of our lives. We want to be making money in our sleep. If you're not making money in your sleep, look at me, look at me. If you are not making money in your sleep, you will never be wealthy. The point of this is to retire eventually. I don't want you guys to be starving creatives. I don't want you to be starving artists. I don't want you guys to be one measly fucking paycheck away from a complete lifestyle change. I want you guys to thrive. This literally is step one of doing that. As far as what I'm going to show you guys, this is so fucking important. This will show you that you have assets, that you have value. So if you guys need to rewatch this, please do. If you guys need the graphics, I'm going to post all of these in like a slideshow format on Discord. I'll have it on my social media. I'm going to make this literally your homework for consults, because I don't want to spend a half hour every single consult just on this like I was doing last time. Yeah, subscribe, just kidding. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about this, of course, Discord is available. Would appreciate if you guys like shared this too. Like, seriously, that does so much for me. I'm working so hard on just content creation right now and doing zero advertising for the creative industry. And yeah, anytime that you guys like engage, share, comment, etc. on any of my social media platforms, like, you have no idea how thoughtful that is and how much that helps me, because you're also generating content for me that I can retweet, and it's massive right now. Yeah, we're gonna raid J Scott. I'm about to be on Prime's channel, and I will see you guys probably Friday or Saturday. I'm gonna figure out exactly when, because I am trying to figure out where the hell I'm moving to, which has been like super exciting. Thank you guys for all of the support again. Thank you for the Patreon subscriptions, the reshares, like everything that you guys do for this project, and I just appreciate you guys. So I will see you guys, yeah, thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Oh god, there's a countdown. Yeah, appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Bye. Raid.